Because my next guest is, of course, one of the few real rock legends.
Jesus, I've been patronised.
I wasn't patronising you.
Well, you looked at your script well enough.
That was a bit of a good build-up, I thought. Well, it's one of the few people in the world who would have taken on God Save the Queen and rewritten it, and also now has written this fantabulous book that I haven't actually read, but I've read the back flap, and that was good enough. Used to be Johnny Rotten, but now is John Lydon.
Well, I'm still rotten to the core.
Are you? Just oozing with it.
Well, check the book out. I mean, nobody gets off lightly in here. This is a take-no-prisoners affair, I'm afraid.
So how did you... I had Holly Johnson on recently who'd written his autobiography, and he'd had it cut to ribbons because they wouldn't let him say anything about anyone. How did you get away with being so brutal?
Because everything I say is the truth. I mean, I've had lawyers go through this with a fine-tooth comb. It's not hearsay. It cannot be debated. This is completely factual, apart from the few opinions that litter the damn thing.
Who do you think you've been hardest on?
Myself, for beginners, my closest friends, my ex-business associates, the entire human race.
Do you think the title might put people off slightly?
If they were completely stupid and ignorant, if they bother to read on, they will find out exactly what it means. This is a title that I used to have to tolerate, say 15, 20 years ago, whenever we'd go up north touring. That was what was written on all the hotels and boarding houses. No Irish, no blacks, no dogs, and they meant it. Things have slightly changed since, but not much. Now they don't tell you that, they just make a night very uncomfortable for you. I suppose it was more honest then.
Do you think they get nervous about having you to stay? Are people still quite terrified of you?
Well, that's probably true. But I'm not that unpleasant. I react to ignorance. It's as simple as that. If you're nice to me, I can be nice back. But I don't create these situations. I just seem to drift into them.
Frequently.
Frequently.
And you've got...
Well, when you're not a coward about your life, that does tend to be what happens all the time, you know.
So if you're...
The occasional visits to jail, they can be thrilling too.
Well, have you been to jail lots of times?
Well, yes, it's rent-free, isn't it?
When you were putting the book together, when you looked back on the Sex Pistols, did you feel like it was a happy period of your life?
No, it was pure hell. It really was. But enjoyable in a perverse kind of way. I mean, that much excitement is never pleasurable.
Why
but it's better than the alternative. I had nothing going for me before the Pistols, nothing at all. And I've never looked back in anger.
Malcolm McLaren frequently says that the whole group was a sort of con trick that he constructed to show how the music business could be manipulated.
Well, read this and I think you'll find what a load of rubbish that man speaks. Hindsight seems to be his major talent, so let's move on before I get annoyed.
Did you get fed up of people spitting on you?
Absolutely.
That's a bit of an unpleasant
yeah, it's something that I think the Daily Mirror and the Sun and the likes instigated. Of course I spat on stage because this relates to an illness I had in my childhood. I had severe meningitis. I was in a coma for a year. It destroyed my sinuses. So hacking big ghoulies is quite normal for me.
I don't recall that people who've had meningitis do that.
Funnily enough, it happens with me.
And so you
I have very, very bad sinuses, and it's all related to something that went wrong with my spine, and it affected my sinus cavities. Audiences would imitate that. The Daily Mirror would pick up on it, and before you know it, it became a fashion statement. But such is the absurdity of life.
So do you still do it?
Hacking, yeah. I'll do one in a second.
No, please don't. Please don't. Ow! It's such an awful noise. Is it true that you grew up with Sid Vicious?
I didn't grow up with him. I spent a large amount of my youth with him. We were both kicked out of school at early ages, so they send you to places which are not quite bald stools, but for
and you were there together?
Difficult youth. Yeah, and that's where I met Sid. That's also where I met Wobble too.
So how do you remember them? Him particularly?
As a John Beverley.
So you have do you have nice memories?
Yeah, he was a very good friend of mine. A bit stupid and a bit easily led, but that's how I like most of my friends to be.
No, I prefer boys to be like that as well.
Different reasons, I hope.
Do you think that his death sort of made him into a kind of tragic hero?
I think his heroin addiction was turned into something glamorous, which I find disgusting. You know, that, if I'm going to get on my moralistic high horse, I would find very, very sinful. And, well, it's in there somewhere in the middle of the book.
Do you think that Sid's ashes, you've got a theory, haven't you, about his ashes? That they're sort of in the air conditioning somewhere?
This is what I was told. Who am I to doubt rumour and myth and legend? Well, apparently his mother, on the way back from America after he was cremated, dropped the ashes at Heathrow Airport, so Sid is now blowing around the air vents. It's a kind of a very good way to go.
I think it's rather a good sort of end, isn't it, really? It's been very lovely to be on the bed with you.
Oh, no, I'm not bad, am I?
No, you were great. This is Channel 4 and you're watching The Big Breakfast.